It took me 10 years, but I finally did it. I've traveled to all of Japan's 47 prefectures, and I thought it would be a really good opportunity to give you my #1 experience or my #1 top location from each one. I'm Nathan, Ninja Monkey, and you've come to the #1 Japan travel channel to help you plan your own trips. I don't think people realize the extent of how big Japan actually is. So I'm gonna actually be breaking this down, starting from the least visited place by tourists to the most visited place by international tourists, starting in Shimane Prefecture, at only 0.14% of tourists actually visiting. And my top tip there is to visit Tsuwano. Tsuwano is a tiny little town nestled in the mountains with a really unique train track, and not only that, but it does really take you into the world of what feels like a Ghibli town, with its really interesting, unique Torii gated shrine that reminded me a lot of Fukushima Inari, but with no tourists. I actually stayed the night. There weren't many people around, and I absolutely loved having the place all to myself. Number 46, Fukui Prefecture. With only 0.18% of tourists actually visiting the prefecture, it's actually, surprisingly, one of the fastest growing locations for tourists to visit. And I wonder why. Maybe it's the hype of the Dinosaur Museum and the dinosaurs surrounding the station, which is exactly what made me fall in love with the location. I have never been to a dinosaur museum like it. It was incredibly amazing in every single way that you can imagine, from animatronic dinosaurs inside of the actual museum to animatronic robotic sensing dinosaurs that you'll be able to experience at Fukui station. And the great thing is that you can get there by Shinkansen quite easily. Okay, number 45, Tokushima Prefecture, which sees about 0.25% of tourists visiting and can be found in Shikoku. I absolutely loved Higashi Yuki. It's a tiny little town, and for me personally, what I loved about this location is my experience. It was unique and probably unique to me. I was walking around there with a friend, and there was a local Matsuri going on, and they literally came up to me and they said, come and join. I ended up carrying the Mikochi shrine. I drank a lot of alcohol, had loads of fun, and therefore, although Tokushima has so much to offer, for me personally, that was my highlight. Number 44, Tottori Prefecture, with only 0.27% of tourists visiting. And yes, the sand dunes are impressive, and I was really surprised to find some real live camels in the sand dunes, but I actually really liked the sand sculpture museum or exhibition that there was there. It's always very impressive to see what creative people can do from all around the world, and that place was fantastic. Number 43, Kochi Prefecture, that sees 0.29% of travelers going there. My favorite was actually the tiny little castle, which is actually one of my favorite castles in the whole of Japan. There's something about it, it's small, it's sort of up on a tiny little hill sort of thing, and it feels like a traditional real castle that has been preserved and that hasn't been tampered with too much. So that's why. Number 42, Ibaraki Prefecture, with only 0.3% of tourists visiting. I visited the Daikanon there, and it was quite impressive. It was much larger than I expected, but I have really fond memories because I went with a dear friend of mine, Luke, from Nomadic Gaijin in Japan, and we had a great fun. It was a great day, so. Number 41, Niigata Prefecture, with 0.37% of tourists visiting there. Although the trip didn't go as planned, I did go to Sado Island and I needed to leave early, but the impression lasted on me and I need to return because Sado Island and its little boats were pretty cool, and I will return properly one day. Note that some of these locations I actually visited before I did YouTube, so I will have to return because it was many years ago, but I'm going to try to dig up my memories and give you some good information. Obviously, there's so much to see and so much to do in each prefecture, and I'm likely missing so much. So please let me know in the comment section what I missed and what I should return for. Number 40, Ehime Prefecture, with 0.4% of tourists visiting there. And my top location, hands down, was Dogo Onsen and the area surrounding the onsen, because it really did make me feel like I was in a Spirited Away bathhouse. And best of all, it's tattoo friendly. Not that I have any tattoos, but just for your information. Number 39, Fukushima Prefecture with 0.44% of tourists visiting. And my top tip was Aizuwakamatsu, because it was very well set up for tourists and it felt like a great escape from the crowds with plenty to see. And it's really easy to get to, by the way. Number 38, Akita Prefecture with 0.446% of tourists visiting. Akita's Kanto Matsuri in the summer was something that I had waited so many years to finally visit, and it didn't disappoint. People balance poles with lanterns, they walk through the street, there's this crazy atmosphere, buzz in the air, amazing. Number 37, Miyazaki Prefecture with 0.45 of tourists visiting and quickly becoming one of my favorite prefectures in Kyushu. Aoshima Island was my highlight of the trip, although there was so much, I really had to think hard, but I really felt that it had a different feel. The shrine was quite unique because it was situated in what felt like a jungle, and I'd never quite seen something like that. Number 36, Gunma Prefecture with 0.48% of tourists visiting, and my top location was Takaragawa Onsen in the snow, in the winter, because there's nothing better than onsen in the snow, and because pictures just don't do it justice. Number 35, Yamagata Prefecture with 0.51% of tourists visiting there, and Sakata was what I would highlight there because it has a really local feel, especially it's got a line of small shrines that really felt like I'd found a hidden gem walking along this road with shrines, and anyway, it was pretty cool. Number 34, Iwate Prefecture with 0.56% of tourists visiting, and Morioka is definitely up there for me, especially its Sansan Odori Matsuri with thousands and thousands of people playing taiko drums and a festive atmosphere, dancing. They get you involved. You really should not miss this one if you're in the summer in Japan. We made it to the halfway point. I knew it was going to be a long one, but hopefully this is giving you some inspiration for future trips, and if not, giving you some ideas of locations where less people are traveling to. And if you want to help the channel out, then my top tip has always been for you to get yourself a pocket Wi-Fi or a data SIM. So why not use my affiliate link with Sakura Mobile? You'll be helping the channel out. You'll get a great product that's trusted by the Ninja Monkey community, the one that I use when I'm traveling Japan, and help me out too. So yeah, anyway, let's get back to the video, right? To the list. Number 33, Yamaguchi Prefecture with 0.6% of tourists visiting. And my top tip here is Motonosumi Inari Shrine. It's a shrine next to the coasts with a tunnel of torii gates, and I really do feel like it's about to explode and become a very, very popular crowded location, but I don't think it's got there yet, so you better get there soon. Number 32, Saga Prefecture with 0.66% of tourists visiting, and Yotuku Inari Shrine, which was a mixture between Kiyomizu's stilts and Fushimi Inari, but without the crowds. It was quite a grand entrance getting there, but loads of steps to get to the very top. Still highly recommended. Number 31, Kagoshima Prefecture with 0.69% of travelers going there, and hands down, although there's so much in Kagoshima to see, Yakushima Island was my highlight. Not only was it the inspiration for Princess Mononoke, but it inspired me to explore more of Japan's islands, and it just was breathtaking. Number 30 is Mie Prefecture with 0.71% of tourists going there. And yes, in around the Ise area with the shrines, that's pretty incredible. But I went to the married couple rocks and I really liked it because it felt unassuming. It was just a pair of rocks connected, but the walkway with little frogs and a little nice coffee shop nearby, it was just a perfect day trip for me. Number 29, Shiga Prefecture at 0.75% of travelers going there. Nagahama Castle was where I traveled to. I actually traveled at the start of the new year, about the 2nd of January, and the castle was closed, but it was still nice and peaceful. which obviously means I'm gonna have to explore more of these prefecture because I've been researching and there's so much more to see. Number 28, Saitama Prefecture with 0.75% of tourists going there. Kawagoe, it makes for an easy day trip with a nice feel of a more traditional Japan. It's an easy escape from Tokyo to get that traditional feel. Number 27, Kagawa Prefecture with 0.98% of tourists going there. And Kotohira Shrine is actually where I stayed the night in that area. It was super quiet in the evening. There wasn't much open, but the shrine in the morning was quite spectacular. It has over 1,000 steps with small stores and very charming traditional feeling as you walk up. And the shrine at the top gives you some incredible views. I think I want to return now that I think of it. Number 26, Wakayama Prefecture sees 1.03% of visitors visiting, and Kurashiki, which is a place that I visited twice before my YouTube days, by the way, but that is my highlight, and it did really leave a lasting impression, especially the beautiful canal, the incredible art museum, and I want to return. Number 25, Aomori Prefecture sees 1.03% of visitors going, and I'd say that my experience at the Nebuta Matsuri was my highlight. It's worth visiting Japan in the summer just for this one. The lanterns are colossal. The atmosphere is like nothing you're gonna see anywhere else, I think, and yeah, do it. Number 24, Toyama Prefecture with 1.11% of tourists visiting there. And as a result of me being rather sick during my trip, I managed to only visit Takaoka and a nearby city with a Buddha and a traditional street. But to be honest, I couldn't really see much more in the area. Anyway, maybe I'll just have to research a bit more. Number 23, Tochigi Prefecture with 1.31% of visitors going there. There's no escaping that Nikko is an easy day trip with a lot to offer and more or less what tourists are looking for. But the hospitality and the personalized tour that I received in Ashikaga stole the show. Number 22, Nagasaki Prefecture with 1.33% of tourists going there. I love Nagasaki City, but it was a nearby Onsen hells that stole the show for me. Those piping hot hells and the history behind it is something worth visiting. And if you can stay there for a night in an onsen, then do it. Number 21, Miyagi Prefecture with 1.38% of tourists visiting. And my top site here would be Matsushima Bay. It's near Sendai City. It's an easy day trip, and it's one of Japan's top 3 views, with tiny little islands with little pine trees and little bridges, and yeah, it's pretty nice. Number 20, Wakayama Prefecture with 1.48% of tourists visiting. Hands down, Koya-san was my highlight. The cemetery at night and the fire ceremony in the morning are absolutely amazing. The temple, the shrines, and staying the night in an actual temple really was an incredible experience. Number 19, Shizuoka Prefecture with around 2.46% of tourists visiting. And my highlight here has to be Atami. It's a gateway to Izu Peninsula, and it's an easy day trip with nice onsens, beach, great atmosphere. Ishikawa Prefecture sees 2.47% of visitors visiting and quickly becoming one of the fastest growing tourist locations, Kanazawa. Why? Because it has everything you can imagine. It really is a less crowded style city similar to Kyoto, with tradition, with even having geisha, gold leaf, an incredible castle. The list just can go on and on and on. Check it out. Number 17, Kumamoto Prefecture with 2.6% of visitors going there. Kumamoto City, well, you know what? My favorite part was Kumamon, the mascot. That's right. I visited just after an earthquake, and about a month after an earthquake, and the castle was unfortunately damaged, so I wasn't able to visit it, and many of the sites were actually closed. And yeah, anyway, we decided to visit and give a little bit of support, and I'm gonna come out and say that I want to return now 10 years later or 8 years later and see what it's like. Number 16, Nagano Prefecture with 2.78% of visitors going there. Senkoji Temple is definitely my highlight. Not the monkeys. You might think it's the monkeys because they're ninja monkey, but no. Especially Zenkoji in the winter, in the snow. Wow. breathtaking, seriously. Yes. Number 15, Gifu Prefecture, with 3.16% of visitors going there. Takayama is definitely one of my highlights. It's got traditional streets and it's Hida beef. I think it's probably my most favorite beef in the whole of Japan. And I think I've tried nearly all of them, if not all of them. I traveled there before I did YouTube, so hopefully I'll be able to put some pictures. Number 14, Okinawa Prefecture, with 4.37% of tourists going there, and Ishigaki, which by the way is the only place I've been to, but specifically hands down Taketomi Island nearby. The beaches, the sand, the views, the relaxation, the vibe. Do I need to go on, really? Number 13, Hiroshima Prefecture, with 4.7% of visitors going there. And yes, Miyajima is probably my most favorite. But now that we're getting close to the top, I'm going to highlight another one, and that is Onomichi. Onomichi in Hiroshima, I think, is a little bit more of a hidden gem with its little hill of shrines and temples, a ropeway, and less people probably, but no deers unfortunately. Number 12, Aichi Prefecture, with 5.17%. Yes, I'm gonna say it, Ghibli Park and the Railway Museum really surprised me, but Ghibli Park stole the show for me. I'll be putting a video up very soon about Nagoya and what you can do there, so don't forget to subscribe so you can keep up to date and check out my latest information and guides. Number 11, Oita Prefecture, with 5.22% of visitors going there. Beppu, hands down, was the highlight, especially its concentration of hills and its really interesting onsen. I went to a Michelin-starred onsen, that's right. I also went to a herb onsen where I had to lie down and it was like a bed of herbs and it was like a steam room. It was very unique, very interesting. But yeah, check it out if you like onsen. Number 10, Hyogo Prefecture, with about 6.29% visiting there, and Kinoseki Onsen is my highlight. It's a small area, but it's a great day trip. And if you like to soak in onsens, you can see a theme here, I really like onsen, then this is your place. You can get yourself a onsen pass and soak the day away. I'm gonna say it's a bit cliche, I know, about 6.7%, but Kawaguchiko Lake, Kawaguchiko, is definitely my highlight there because the views of Mount Fuji are incredible. And my tip is to stay the night because you'll be able to get that view to yourself in the evening where people leave around after 5 p.m. and in the morning before people arrive or people start arriving. Yes, I want to go back. It's so freaking beautiful there. Number 8, Hokkaido, which sees about 7% of tourists visit, and BA is my personal highlight because of its hills, rolling hills I must say, farms, cheese, and the blue pond, which was quite spectacular. I rented a bike and I cycled around and it was, yeah, incredible. Number 7, Kanagawa Prefecture, with around 8.26% visiting there, and Enoshima, hands down, is one of my favorite day trips from Tokyo because you can actually reach Kanagawa from Tokyo quite easily. It's got the coastal feel, it's got a beach, it's got steps, traditional sort of stalls, everything you can imagine for a day trip, it has it, especially some really nice views and some interesting rock formations too. Number 6, Nara Prefecture, with around 8.9%, and we're getting close to the double digits, but Nara Deer Park is definitely my highlight. I mean, you know, everyone goes to Nara for the deer. Do I really need to spell that out? Yes, Nara Deer Park. Those deer can be quite vicious though, so be careful. Number 5, we've got to the double digits with Fukuoka Prefecture, and it's 13% of travelers that go there. And I have to say that there's so much to see in Fukuoka, but I'm gonna give you an experience here, and that was my ramen experience in Fukuoka. It was hands down the best meal I have ever had in my life. I promise you, I'm going on about this one. I'm just salivating just thinking about it. I want to return. I've been to Fukuoka before, but I want to return just to have that ramen. Yes. Number 4, a huge jump with Kyoto, seeing 33% of tourists visit. And I'm gonna go for an off the beaten path location that maybe you've heard of, maybe you haven't, but it's in the north of Kyoto, on the coastline of Kyoto, and it's Ehime. It's very unique traditional streets with its very interesting boat houses that are on the bay. Really makes this place special. It nearly feels like you're not even in Japan. It has its own unique feel. Number 3, Chiba Prefecture, with 36.05% of tourists visiting there. Okay, I'm gonna say it, but Disney Sea is definitely my highlight there, especially the new expansion of Fantasy Springs, which was phenomenal, incredible, and I can't recommend it enough if you like Disney. But then again, you know, this is making me think that maybe I should explore a little bit more of Chiba away from Disney. Number 2, Osaka. Osaka sees 43.5% of tourists visit, and I'm gonna go out and say it, but Dotonbori is my favorite because it's just wild. It's everything that you probably expect from a super modern, like, neon city, with its neon lights and the river and the buzz. Yes, very crowded, but I think that the crowd just adds to the crazy atmosphere of the city. Number 1, that is Tokyo, with 48.6% of tourists visiting, and my locations there really just depend on my mood. I like Asakusa when I want more of the traditional, when I want to find some melon pan, when I just want to like walk the streets, and you know, especially in the evening when everybody's left and things are quiet. But I also like Shibuya. It's a more lively, more modern area of Tokyo, and obviously it has the world's busiest crossing too. So there you have it. 47 prefectures visited across 10 years. And I think now that I'm looking at this list, that I'm gonna have to return to some of those prefectures and explore a little bit further, and maybe things will change in the future, because Japan isn't just about the highlights, it's about all those little places in between that I have yet to explore. So please let me know in the comment section if you think there's any that should be on this list, or any that I have to explore that you think are worthy to be on this list in the future, because nothing is better than traveling across Japan. And hopefully you'll be able to use this list to get some ideas for your Japan trips too. A little bit of a different video. I hope you liked it. Please show your appreciation by liking, subscribing if you haven't already, and see you in the next one. If you thought this was interesting and you're planning a trip, then check out this playlist here. It's a Japan starter playlist with all the main videos to help you plan and get yourself started and ready for your Japan trip. Yeah. Anyway, stay positive and be happy gaijin. Bye.